This is Joanne. Welcome to Following Through. I am here with my co-host Sujun on our podcast episode 11. Hello, Sujun.
Hello, Joanne. How are you doing this week?
Not bad. This week came pretty quickly. I feel like the more episodes that we do, it just keeps on going faster and faster.
Yes.
Which I think that's a good thing because the more goals or things that you want to accomplish, I feel like time does go by faster. So it means you're immersed in something. You have this little flow going on. As I like to think.
Great, great. I like the positivity.
Exactly.
Yeah. Uh, in fact, if you really want to achieve a lot, one goal a week might just be the starting point.
Yeah. This will be the title of our next book, One Goal a Week, How It All Started, Following Through.
Hey, I like that. Oh my gosh. Let's work on it.
Exactly. So I'm not as prepared with my goals because I've been running around, but mine is more of an update of what I talked about last time. But you are going first this time, so less pressure on me. Sujun, tell us, give us knowledge about your past week.
Thank you, Joanne. The past week I said I wanted to write every day, so I set time in the morning to when I get up after I get my coffee on, and I try to write a little bit. So I didn't have any limitations. The only qualification I need to fulfill every day is to write something. And first day was really hard. Essentially my mind was blank.
Yeah.
That rarely happens.
I see.
Yeah. So, but once I get started, I wrote a few sentences, and then the second day I had a different topic, and then the third day I literally went back to the first topic, which is work. So, work keeps coming up again and again. Yeah.
Yeah, before you go on, is this something that I can read? Is this a public post? Or are these like private entries?
I think that I have enough material that I can put together into a blog post that I can publish. Yes, but it's still being workshopped. So I don't have anything for you to read as of yet, but I do want to share a couple of thoughts with you because I'm surprised that I keep writing about work.
Yeah.
And I ask myself, why am I so obsessed with work? And like the whole, every day I try to get things done, but I always look forward to the weekend when I don't work.
Right.
So why am I so obsessed with work? And that makes me think about what work means to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some people live to work, some people work to live. And I think we're not always in one camp or another. It's sometimes we live to work, sometimes we work to live. So at the end of the day, you have to create a meaning of work for yourself.
Well, let me ask you that question to yourself. Which camp do you think you are in, or like often in more?
Yeah, I am on the camp of Henry Ford. So let me expand a little bit. I also wanted to share what Henry Ford said.
Yeah.
Which was when I read it, it was too extreme for me. He said that in life, the purpose of life is to work.
Interesting.
That's it. Yeah. And he even said that people who are crippled, he would give them jobs.
Yeah.
Because the worst thing you can do to someone's spirit is to tell them that they are not worthy. You cannot be worthy enough to do this job. So he said that, so there was a person who was on wheelchair, so he can work with his hands. So he set up a room for this person to just work on things that he can assemble with his hands and pay him the same wage. And that is another point that he emphasized. So I think I want to think that I live, I want to think that I work to live, but then I think I live to work.
Interesting. It's almost like I wonder if our perception of work has changed from when the era of Henry Ford and our perception
Mm,
now. Because, I do find it great to be useful and being a part of a system,
mm-hmm.
and being, I think there's some pride that you get in what you do. And that used to be more so, I feel like, back in Henry Ford's day. It's like, oh yeah, I'm an electrician, or this is my, this is what I do. That's kind of like becomes your identity. But there definitely
Yeah.
was that shift in thinking, kind of in the started with the millennial thing with the tech boom and everything, and everybody wanted to do like startup and then have a 4-hour work week, and started to become more of like, okay, now we want to enjoy life.
Yeah.
So, and then the idea of work became, oh, why are you spending time on work? Like, try to get out of it as much as you can so you can
Mhm.
enjoy everything else. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, it's interesting. I definitely don't know which camp I am in. Honestly, I haven't really thought about that question. Good question.
Mm. Hey.
Hey,
Random question at ya. Just kidding.
I
I have
know.
another one prepared for
No.
you.
That's interesting though. Yeah. So what came about I guess your flow of thinking about work? How you kind of like thought about your work,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it was quite random at first, honestly, because I was forcing myself to write about something, and I thought about what you said about the brain dump in the morning, and I was like, okay, let me just do a brain dump. What comes to mind? And it wasn't, I didn't write work, but it was things about work, and then
Yeah.
my projects, how I can do better, and blah blah blah, and a few different days, having thinking about the same topic just makes me wonder, why am I so obsessed? That's kind of that's kind of how I come about
Yeah.
into forming a blog post. So in the blog post, I want to argue that um, work is, maybe we can think about it like uh, dusting off a metal on your shelf. Think
Yeah.
about work as that metal that we have not looked at for a long time, and we have neglected because we have to do it every day, and we just try to get out of it, not even thinking about the purpose of it, right?
Right.
And yeah, and I thought about what Henry Ford said, the the purpose of life is to work, and I think that, and I hope that a lot of people are going to disagree with that, because that probably doesn't uh, resonate with every single person in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then I came to the conclusion that work got to have a meaning for you, yourself, me, myself. Everyone can create a meaning of work for themselves. But the thing is, there's also no requirement, which I think is quite liberating, because I didn't think about the meaning of my work sometimes. I just
Right.
do it, and life still goes on. So without a meaning, it's still fine. With a meaning, it just gets better.
Right.
That's my argument.
That's that's a very interesting thought. It definitely reflects on like some of the process I've kind of had to go through in terms of how I saw work as well. I had
Hmm.
maybe within the year this transition of like, oh, I hate my job. Like, I mean, I don't like hate my job, but what's the quickest way I can just like maybe work from home, for instance, like transition
Hmm.
that because that just sounds better. And I tried that and I actually didn't like it. I
Mm.
actually started to appreciate my job in the space because there was value in the human interaction and helping people, and that I couldn't do as well remotely. And remotely it seems, yes, I'm convenient, yeah, I get to sit around in my home and be comfortable, but going to work, being useful, and coming back does give you that sense of like, wow, I'm part of something, which is something that I didn't think would be important. Now, I think within work though, also one thing I try to look for is that meaning. Because if I am an assembly line worker at Henry Ford, like, what is the meaning? And I would hope that there's something for me that can progress. Like maybe there are projects that you want to improve on, and like something that the company can provide or like help you develop to make your work more interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm it's and it's funny because I think your take may be more optimistic position than I am right now, currently in my position. Because I just recently went through this whole idea of like, oh my gosh, everyone's a bully. Doesn't matter how long you've worked anywhere. At the end of the day, it's all metrics based, and you're just a cog in a wheel or in a machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is kind of interesting.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have to admit that, I have had times when I'm really pessimistic about work, and I
Yeah.
think, Joanne, you are aware of that.
Yeah.
And I have given advice to some of my mentees or some of the more junior colleagues to say that when they are really frustrated at work, I ask them to think about what is the minimum requirement of your job. Do that and then find another job.
Yeah.
So I have given advice like that to other people and apply it to myself as well. But the thing is, looking back, when I do just the bare minimum to get by, to find another job, like my soul just die a little bit every single day. And when there was a situation, it's always about people. When there was a situation that was really frustrating, and I decided that, you know what, I'm not even gonna care what this person thinks about me, what this person wants.
Yeah.
I just honor what is the best work product I can put out. And surprisingly, perhaps not surprisingly, I feel wonderful by myself, and it kind of minimized the other person's toxic energy. And my boss noticed.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, yes, it's win and win and win.
And that is really hard to do, to focus on just your own growth and your own speed and your own development, because it's almost like if you're so in my line of work, there's just like customers or people you have to attend to, and it is kind of a volumes game. So when you work in a team, if I'm alone and I'm in charge of this area and I deal with the numbers that I have and I do it well, great, it's my responsibility. But as soon as you put someone in next to me and all of a sudden we have a shared responsibility, you become so sensitive to how that other person is doing. Like if they start slacking off, it angers you. And even if I'm doing less work or whatever, it's just the mere fact that there's someone next to you slacking off makes you not focus on your own job and your own speed. And I it's hard to break that cycle because we're getting
You're
paid
so
the same.
close to it.
Yeah, you're so close to it, and and at the end of the day, you think like, okay, at least in my job, that person and I get paid the same. They're doing less work. That's annoying,
Yep, exactly.
So, I mean, what was the way? How were you able to kind of overcome that psychology? I guess
that is definitely very hard. I think more often than not, I get affected by it because, as you said, as you described, and I feel it physically, even though I'm just imagining it right now.
Right.
You are so close to the toxic energy,
right,
and it's so infective. There's no way that you can't be affected.
right.
But what I think the times when I have been successful, every time it's a new battle, but the battles that I have won come from letting myself manifest that frustration. It's when I don't suppress it, I actually feel it, and then express it, either cursing or either writing it out, or like talk to you or my support network system,
Right.
and then know that I can't change the situation.
It's
And
like
when I
it's what do you call that? The steps of the process of grieving.
definitely,
It's like
definitely.
you go through that emotional turmoil and you like kick and yell like, "What is going on?" And then you're like, "Well, nothing will change, so I guess I'll accept it."
Nothing changed. And when exactly you know, that's the you hit it. Accepting it. I think if I could summarize it, we should just say accepting it.
Yeah,
But there is a process. You cannot just tell someone to accept it. I
right.
cannot just tell myself that yeah, it doesn't work. And when you suppress the emotion, it's gonna come back roaring. Okay,
Mm,
okay. So I think in, again, looking back at the battles that I've won, a few, it's when I allow myself to experience the emotion and then accept it
right.
and then minimize that toxic energy visually in my mind and know what I want to do for myself. In this
Right.
case, in this case, work product, the reports, the projects, whatever it is.
Right. And just kind of refocusing your attention on yourself. That
Yeah.
I like that. That's a good reminder of that because it's so easy to get torn away to these other things at your workplace, the drama. Like everybody has it at any workplace.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, what is my goal?
Yeah. And then the drama, it happens, even though sometimes it feels like forever.
Right.
It is finite. Like it stops at some point,
Right.
and life moves on.
You're absolutely right. And you know, even in situations where you're getting targeted by your admin or whatever, you're on the chopping block or whatever. If you just stay low and it goes against your ego, goes against your will to fight against it,
Oh yeah.
it will go
Oh yeah.
away. And at the end of the day, like you were saying, you just have to focus on what's important to you. And that sometimes it is hard to swallow that pride. I mean, that's why I've been sometimes feeling like, oh my gosh, I'm just getting bullied all the time. But at the end of the day, after you kind of go through those emotions of like, oh my gosh, I'm the victim, then you just kind of like resurface and you're like, okay, like whatever, it really wasn't a big deal, right?
Yeah, it takes going through it and then looking back, and it's a different Joanne at that point, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I do feel like, I mean, I've only been working in the professional world for like, I mean, less than 5 years, but it feels like, I don't know, I have been naive to certain things and I'm definitely growing, which is exciting in some aspects that there are still a lot of things to learn out there.
Yeah.
So, jumping ahead, what are you hoping to look forward to this week?
Yeah, the next week I like to continue to do this writing
Okay.
every day exercise because it kind of gives me some insights as to actually let me rephrase it makes me pay attention to things that I overlook. Yeah, I like that. I like to continue to do that. Maybe I'll come up with new ideas next week.
I like it. You can just slowly become. This should just end up being like a Q&A session for Sujin, where I just ask her questions of like, all right, I have this work-related situation. How do I resolve this? Honestly.
Yeah, for the audience, I have had some experience. Practice makes perfect. I'm getting too perfect. Haha, just kidding.
We are all trying to get better, so yeah. For me, last week I think I said I was gonna talk about ARK investing a little bit, but I kind of switched gears, and then all of a sudden my whole mind, you know, when something just like, and it's been a while since this happened, when something just kind of consumes your mind, you just can't let it go until you like dig deeper or do something. So real estate, just for some reason, it just hit at the right time. It was literally triggered by the fact that I just had a conversation with my colleague, saw me just trading at work because it was a little bit slow. And she's like, oh, I'm surprised you don't know much about real estate because her dad does it and she just bought a house and stuff. And I was like, that's true. Why don't I know much about real estate? I had in the past read about it a little bit, and it kind of turned me off because it seemed like it was a lot of work. And at the time, I wanted to do more investing, like stock stuff. So I switched my energy to that. But then it hit a chord once I started digging into it a little bit more and understanding the finances behind it. Or I guess, I don't know if you call it finances, but like the money behind it and why and how it becomes a good investment. And then it just kind of struck a chord. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm behind the game. Oh my gosh, I'm throwing away all my rent money right now. Like that anxiety just like pushed me to read a bunch of books and just like make some actions.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So my update is I am hoping to buy a house within 6 months to a year. Yes.
Awesome.
I mean, I haven't bought one yet, so don't congratulate me yet.
Well, no, like the moment you decide, that's a moment to celebrate. Of course, a smaller celebration than when you actually close the deal. So that's
Awesome.
great.
Thanks. I feel like
Now,
you're like the mom that like celebrates every single little step a kid
I
has.
do
You know, it's
celebrate.
like, oh my gosh, you drew a line, put that on the fridge. Like, yes.
Wait, I do that for myself too, so okay.
Okay, awesome. It works. I'll take it. Yeah.
So then, what's the plan? So if you want to buy it in 6 months, you gotta get some stuff moving.
Yeah, I know. I gave myself that 6-month deadline, and how I came about that is, so I've already decided. I live in LA, and I'd already planned. As Susan, I've told her a few times that I was gonna move to Seattle, try that city out. LA just definitely has not been my jam. Even before we started the podcast, we just had an earthquake, and I'm just like, I'm done. Oh, and what the tipping point was the real estate fire, and then when I came back from work, my car got broken into, and I was
Oh
like,
no.
and I live in a pretty nice apartment where I can't even park my own car, which is stupid, and it got broken into in this nice apartment area, so I was like, I'm done. I just
I'm
can't.
sorry to hear that. Yeah, that city has deep systemic
Yes.
issues,
I
and
I will not say too much about LA because I have strong, passionate feelings about it. So I will
let's move
defer.
on let's move on to talk about your plan. Where do you want to buy in?
Yeah. So I'm
Which
gonna.
city?
So the good thing is I don't have to break my lease. I can transfer it as long as I stay within the company because my lease doesn't end until the next summer. So I want to make things
Wow.
happen now and soon. So proactively, I'm going next month. I'm moving to Seattle.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's like October like 20th or something like that. I've already signed the lease
Wow.
for the new place. I don't have to break my lease here, which is great. And I signed a 6-month lease. So I told myself 6 months is the time I'm giving. And of course I can, renew it or whatever. And I am going to a cheaper apartment, so I'm gonna save like almost $1,000 more.
Amazing.
Yeah. So my goal will be on my free times
Okay, that's like
finding out.
doing a side hustle
Yeah,
that pays you $1,000 without doing anything. I mean, you move, but
I know.
yes.
I'm so excited about it, like saving money. But I bet you all that money.
Celebration!
I know all that money. I'm sure is gonna get like blown away as I move and have to rebuy stuff. But yes, it's kind of nice. It'll give me some leverage to, start looking. So I'm pretty excited. And the good thing is like you can start doing the market analysis research like even when I'm not there. So I've been doing
Yeah.
a little bit of that and just kind of deciding and pondering like what do I want to buy, where do I want to buy, like do I want to buy then rent out soon, or do I want to buy a place that I want to stay and then start investing later on if I like it. Or I mean, who knows? Maybe I won't like Seattle either, and then this will be another podcast.
Yeah, we'll discuss about that. So it sounds like you would like to buy it, to live in it, and to accrue equity.
Yes.
Okay.
That is hopefully in an area that is consistently appreciating. Hopefully a
Yes.
place where I can rent out if I do
Yes.
leave.
Mhm.
And then I'm hoping to, and I haven't really looked at the details too much about this, but in theory, sounds like a good idea. Is buying at least a 2-bedroom, 2-bath so I can Airbnb the rest when I am not there.
Yeah, make sure that the city does not have limitations. New York City, I think, barred at least some parts of Airbnb activities.
That's good to know.
And Hawaii, I believe, banned short-term rentals like that. So you can rent Airbnb, but it has to be longer term, like a month or something like that.
Oh, that's interesting. So yeah, those are good things, good reminders to look into. So thanks for that tip. Yeah, so that is kind of like my update.
That's awesome.
Mhm.
Well, do you know which part of the city of Seattle that you're focusing on, or you're still discovering right now?
I am still on the discovering phase. I'm still like, I don't know what I'm doing yet, but just kind of looking around phase.
Okay,
So
that's the fun phase.
that's the like, what the hell am I doing? But you know, if anything, like what I'm trying to focus on, like while I'm not there, is knowing how to do legit market analysis online and what resources to use and blah 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 blah. I mean, if anything, what I've learned this past week is from like the few sources that I've seen. I don't know. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't take my advice, but it seems like the market is not going to cool down. It's slowed down maybe a little bit in the sense that it's not exponentially like going crazy, but the demand is going to continue because now you have the millennials looking for jobs. You know, obviously people are doing more remote work, but in general, I don't think waiting for a crash to buy is the right move because I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
yeah, it seems reasonable.
Yeah. And I believe that general rule of thumb is that real estate value is going to go up in 10 years, for example.
Right.
Yeah, it's going to be up and down, but generally speaking, in the longer term, it would go up eventually.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because they're talking about a lot more people are buying, but it's not like the market crash era where like there's all these like irresponsible loans being released and stuff. It's like people who are stuck in COVID just saving their cash, and they're just like, okay, where do I spend my money? You know, gotta park it somewhere. So the house market is just blowing up, but
well, that's exciting.
Yeah, I will keep you all updated.
You're shopping for a really big item.
Yeah, it's quite terrifying. But yeah, let's move on to random question of the day.
Random question.
Your turn.
Yeah, so there's 2 parts to this question, Joanne.
2? I thought it was only one question. Wait, when did we change the format?
But... No, it's 1A and 1B. They're related.
Oh.
Okay. Would you like a puppy as a pet or a cat or kitty?
Is that
puppy
that's
kitty?
The 1A question?
Yes.
Probably a kitty. It fits my lifestyle better. Yeah. Wait, am I about to have a cat? Are you about to give me a cat right now?
Oh, not yet.
Okay. No surprises.
What would you name the kitty?
Oh, ooh.
Yeah, that's my random question.
That's hard. I feel like I'd have to see the cat and it'll come. Like, what if it was like, I don't know, like gray, and I'm gonna call it like marbles or something.
That's true. Good point.
What about you? Wait, are you getting a cat or a dog?
I wish. I'm allergic to cats, sadly.
Okay.
And, you know, by the rate I'm moving, I cannot make a dog go through this kind of stress with me. So when I think that a dog will be in my life at some point, but not yet.
So your answer is puppy or dog?
Oh my gosh, I would love to have 3 cats and 2 dogs, and they live in a separate apartment from me, so I can go visit when I like to, and then I won't sneeze when I don't need to.
I
Because
see.
if I go close to the cat, I'm gonna sneeze and have itchy eyes.
Oh no.
I love them.
And what would you name them? That mean you're gonna name me
Um,
five names for each?
you're right. I have all kinds of random names in the past. I have one called Donut in my imaginary pet. These are imaginary pets. Okay, I've got one called Donut and one called. I have a cat called Dumpling. Okay,
Okay.
listeners are gonna be like, "This lady is crazy."
So do you have one
Um,
for like an appetizer? Like
That's right. Hey, that's right. Hors d'oeuvres.
hors d'oeuvres?
Oh my goodness. And that reminds me of our neighborhood cat. He's a pretty well-fed cat, and but despite his size and the girth of his tummy, he moves really quickly. Okay. I mean, I pet him a little too long the other day, and he already swiped at me.
Oh.
I didn't even see it happening. All I know was, ow.
Oh no. Get that checked out.
um, I'm fine. But this impressive kitty is called Fat Tony.
How appropriate. That's cute. I can see it.
Yeah. Aw.
Perfect. Well, keep us updated. Hopefully
Yeah,
you don't get
so-
infected next week.
I should be fine. But definitely love pets, but don't have a pet of my own at this point. I do play with other people's pet quite a bit. So come visit me if you have a pet. Everyone.
I think that was not a serious offer, so. But yes, Sujun, I'm gonna let you close. So don't go over.
Yes. Well, I look forward to hear more about your plan with real estate investment. And the next week, I'm going to continue to do my right everyday exercise. And we should reconvene in a week and see you all next week. Bye, everyone. Bye, Joanne.
Bye.